everybody. I pray this video finds you blessed. So this week I'm going to make a handle for one of my mom's favorite whisks that the handle fell off a couple years ago and she still uses it. I felt that I would give it much love by creating a new handle for her. So this is some PVC I picked up at Lowe's. Well, actually one of them I bought at Lowe's. The other one we had kind of just hanging around in the shop. One of the PVCs is 1.5. It's the thinner plastic with kind of a lip at the bottom. That's more for a down drain for a sink. And the other PVC is your regular thickness PVC, your standard stuff. It is 2 inches. And the other one, like I said, is 1.5. I got the 2 different sizes because I wanted to experiment with sizes, number one, and the types of plastic to see if it was going to be difficult to get the blank out of the plastic, being one's going to be more flexible and the other one not. So I already had casted my mom's handle by this point, but I forgot to video the whole process. So I decided to go back and make 2 more handles using different color resins, and that's, you'll notice that the handle I make is different colors than what I added here. I will use this particular casting in another project soon. I do have an idea for it. So anyways, I had already casted it. The PVC I went ahead and split down the side so it would be easier to get the casting out after, you know, it was cured, because the first time I was just trying to pop it through using mold, you know, the mold release, and then just popping it through, and it wouldn't budge, and I didn't have enough patience to work on it. So I decided to go ahead and split them down the center, and I figured when I recast I'll just tape them back up again, and it worked a little bit. There was a little bit of a slow leak, but I think it's mostly because my hot glue probably went through some of that thin plastic, and I'll devise some other way to seal the bottom of it, you know, and using tape. But overall the tape worked. It was just a really small slow leak that came out. So the leftover resin, I found this soap mold on, or it's like a tray or soap mold on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description below. It really is useful for when I have leftover resins, and it's something that I can create kind of like right away and I can use it versus having to turn it. I'll put the link down below so you can take a look. Anyways, there's where the leak was at, and I just hot glued them down to this base that I made with some scrap wood so I can lower it down into the pressure pot without, you know, risking tipping it over and whatnot. Pulling the tape off, and I'll show you in a minute what that blank looks like. I did take it over to my vise, which is out of the camera view, and hold on to the blank while I tapped the top of it with a hammer to get the blank to just fall down through, and that worked perfectly. Right now I'm just taking a screwdriver and separating where I had recently or previously cut down the center to kind of pop it away from the sides. This casting I forgot to put mold release, but my first one I did. So considering how easy it came out without mold release, it wasn't too bad. Again, I did split it down the center to make it a little easier to get them in and out, and this method I feel is reusable for, you know, several times. The resin doesn't stick to it too badly, so even all that resin you see that kind of came out during the casting process chips away very easily. Easy to clean them right back up and recast again. Here's that soap dish or tray mold that I use when I am casting, so my leftover resin goes into it, and I just filled the rest of it up with some other resin I was using at the time, and yeah, so perfect. This thing's pretty rusty, and my mom's been using it just like that for a long time because it's her favorite whisk, so I don't blame her. I have favorite kitchen utensils too. I'm using a copper cap that I got from Lowe's. It's a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch, I can't remember, copper cap that I got from Lowe's, and for the ferrule, because it is going into wood and I don't want it to split, plus the copper really adds a nice pop to it. I love copper utensils. It reminds me of the old days and all the antique copper stuff that my cousin has hanging all over our house. It's really, really cool. So anyways, any way I can incorporate some of that into pieces, especially that go into the kitchen, is a bonus for me. Phew, that was a lot of talking for the first half of that video. Anyways, I apologize about that. There was just a lot going on there, and I was trying to keep up. Anywho, there'll be a lot more for those of you who really hate all the talking. I got plenty more where that came from. Just kidding. I understand. If you notice, I'm turning on a little green lathe instead of a little red lathe. My little red lathe, the tailstock on it would not lock down. I took it apart, cleaned it, did everything you could possibly do to the tailstock of this machine, and it wouldn't lock down. And some of the blanks that I was turning, I needed to be able to turn between centers, and it wasn't holding anything. I mean, nothing. It wouldn't even hold a real small piece of wood. The tailstock just kept sliding back, sliding back. I mean, I pounded that thing with a hammer trying to lock it down, and it still wouldn't work. So yeah, I adjusted it. I literally watched every video I possibly could because I was thinking there's something I'm missing. There's something that I just, am not paying attention to, and I literally did everything. So I just went to Harbor Freight, grabbed the little old lathe that I began with when I first started turning, and it's humbling because I'm not used to it. I'm used to the bigger lathe, and I was having quite a frustrating time with all the little knobs and stuff, and I kept hitting my knuckles. And anyways, I'll stop complaining. I'm very thankful that I even have a lathe, so I just got to keep focusing on that. I'm thankful I even have a lathe, and this will be for a year. Although when I say that out loud, that seems like forever. As far as the design of the handle, I just wanted it to be easy for my mom to get a hold of and be, big enough for her to get a hold of, and small enough, obviously, that it wouldn't be, too hard to use, because with a whisk, you're constantly going with it. So I marked how deep I wanted to go on my drill bit, and I taped this down because obviously I hadn't glued it yet. And it was spinning, and my dumb butt reached over there, stupid hurts, y'all, and grabbed hold of that piece after I was done drilling it, and it was piping hot, and I burnt my finger like a dum-dum. Sometimes your brain just doesn't have time to warn your hands, because your hands are just on a totally another go 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 level, and my brain was just like, don't do that, fool, and that it said it 3 seconds too late. Now, I didn't glue the ferrule on and then drill it out because I knew that copper would get hot, and I was afraid that it would cause the glue to come undone, and I used 4-minute epoxy for that, and I was afraid that it would just heat up too much and cause it to come undone. I didn't do a CA finish on the handle. I just kind of used the thin CA to hopefully seal up any voids, and also kind of soak into the wood really good to give it some sort of sealant, I guess. I'm horrible at CA finishes, and then now that I have a lathe that wants to run Mach 5 at its slowest speed, it really makes it difficult to get a nice even CA finish on there, especially with my being so impatient. I felt that just a spray-on polyurethane would probably be best, even though I'm not really great at spraying on. Figured to give it a go anyway. It turned out the satin was a really beautiful finish for this handle, and I'm happy I chose that. Now, as far as durability and it holding up over time, I guess we'll see. The worst comes to worst is I have to redo the finish on it. I am in the process of ordering a tumbler motor that I'm going to set up so I can put resin finishes. This would normally have a resin finish on it, so that's that. So I'll show you how that turns out when I get done with it. Now this is some leftover garbage wood that our local cabinet company just throws in a dumpster, and about once every month or so I go dumpster diving. Yes, I go dumpster diving for wood, and they have beautiful maple pieces in there. The pieces, the figured and the curly and all of that, and the ambrosia pieces that they have in the flat work. They throw that away because obviously they don't want that randomness in their cabinets. But those are like gold for us turners, and so I always am lucky enough to find pretty good pieces, and then plus some of these odd sized pieces I use for jam chucks like this. So I'm happy I got to go dumpster diving this month because I had packed and got rid of all of my scrap random pieces that I had before I moved. So this really helped in making a little jam chuck. So I can just sand the bottom of it and then obviously spray it. Didn't have to be crazy accurate. It wasn't turning anything at this point. It just needed it to spin so I could sand it and spray my finish on it. I ended up using about 4 coats of spray-on poly. It's the satin finish, which I really loved on this piece. It was nice not to have like crazy gloss, but then still just enough to make everything kind of pop. As far as the longevity, I don't know. I don't know how long that'll last. I guess we'll find out. Being a kitchen utensil, I did tell my kids not to throw it in the dishwasher and to hand wash it. So hopefully it'll last long. If not, I'll just throw a resin finish on it for her once I get my little tumbler motor in. I'm using 2-to-1 epoxy to glue the handle in. Reason why I didn't use the 4-minute epoxy is because it's really airy and bubbly, and it's a little thicker, so it's a little harder to get down the little hole. So for ease of use and for ensuring that there's more resin than there is air bubbles in there, that's why I decided to use the 2-to-1, and I just used the PVC pipe. I cast it in to hold it up, and it cured about 2 or 3 hours, brought it in, and my mom absolutely loves it, so that's all that really matters. I really appreciate you guys hanging in there with me and watching my videos. All of your encouragement, your love, your support, and most of all, your prayers. We really, truly appreciate it. My family and I pray that y'all are doing well, that you stay blessed, you stay strong, and y'all take care of a wonderful weekend. God bless.